Okay, welcome everyone to, this is our first workshop of spring quarter at UC Davis for 2023. My name is Michelle Tobias. I am the Geospatial Data Specialist at UC Davis Data Lab. And today we're going to have a session about building web maps with Leaflet from my colleague Naomi Kalman. We've been working really hard together to revamp this workshop that we did a couple years ago here at MapTime Davis. And we're really excited for this workshop. We think that it was good before, but now it's super good. So we're like way excited about this. Like you have no idea. So I'm glad today is the day. So a couple things, housekeeping stuff. First off, I want to recognize that our campus and our community in Davis is going through a lot of really tough stuff right now. So I'm going to put some links in our chat window here in Zoom. One of them is for the Safe Rides program on campus. They have expanded hours as of this week. So if you need to make use of that, please do. Also, I've put links in the chat for mental health resources for both students and faculty and staff. So, you know, given that we're going through a lot on campus and in the community this week, please make use of those if you think at all that you will benefit from them. Please check those out and definitely attend things that you feel like it will be helpful. On a lighter note, right now we are accepting applications for MapTime Davis Council. That is the body that basically produces the workshops that you see. For the last 2 years, we've had a group of people who get together to make the workshops happen. And so we're looking for the folks who want to join us next year. I and Naomi are both council members. Other folks you might see in the Zoom session today are also council members. Alex Mandel and Veronica Herrera are here, who are also council members. So feel free to ask any of us about our experience, but you can also check out our website. I'm going to paste a couple more links in the chat to help you out with that. One of them is, it's labeled the link to our schedule, but also if you scroll all the way down on the spatial sciences page for Data Lab, you will see the call for applications for MapTime Davis Council. So if you're interested, there's a link there to apply and some more information about the commitment. It's pretty minimal commitment, but we do good things and add at least a little more good to this world. It's a fun group to work with, and it's a really cool product to bring our community. The other thing that is in the chat, the other link I just put is the link to our YouTube channel. We are posting our videos there. So if you want to rewatch this later, we anticipate posting this on our YouTube channel. You can also find our previous workshops that we thought were useful for the community. We haven't posted absolutely everything, but the ones that we think are important for the community that you might want to watch again. So check that out. It's been a labor of love putting that together, and we think that it's something that is useful. So that's, I think, everything I have for you in terms of introductions. So today we have Naomi Kalman, who is going to present to us our workshop on how to make web maps with Leaflet. Naomi, I'm going to let you introduce yourself because I'm going to leave out some of the important things that you do, but I have known Naomi for a very long time. We both worked at Information Center for the Environment for a while, and we've also worked together at Data Lab. And Naomi has a lot of great skills and recently learned about web mapping and is going to teach us today. So thank you very much, Naomi. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. I mean, that kind of covers it. So hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name's Naomi Kalman. I am a geospatial data specialist. I'm an alumni of UC Davis, and I recently got my master's at a master's in data analytics at Western Governors University. But my main focus has been geospatial data for quite some time. And let's see, I am a former university employee. I was at Information Center for the Environment at Data Lab, and I also worked in the Earth and Planetary Sciences department. And the common theme has always been kind of people in the environment and those interactions. So now I've struck out on my own. I have my own business called Valley Spatial. So I still focus on spatial data analysis, visualization, informatics, So hit me up if you have projects. But today we are doing something kind of outside my comfort zone, which I took on so that I could expand my comfort zone. And we're going to be building some web maps using Leaflet, which is a JavaScript library. And this is geared for beginners. So I'm just going to ask, I don't know if you guys know how to use reactions or thumbs up or something. This is geared for if you've got no HTML, no any sort of experience. So do we have anyone in the audience today, just a thumbs up or whatever, who has no HTML experience, no programming, no JavaScript, nothing? Thumbs up. Okay, so okay, good. This is for you. Okay, so if you've got, so is there anyone here who's got no HTML, but maybe some programming language, something like Python or R or something like that, but no HTML? Okay, got a couple in there, so that's good. Do we have any JavaScript programmers in the house? Yes, we've got some JavaScript programmers in the house. Okay, this might be a little bit basic for you, but we'll try to bring something for everybody. Okay, so with that, I'm going to get started, and I am working on one monitor today. So I'm going to minimize all my Zoom stuff, and we've got Michelle and Alex and Veronica helping man the chat for questions. So pop stuff in there, turn off your microphone, whatever, but I am not going to see it because starting right now, well, actually, first I'm going to share my screen. And oh, excuse me, Michelle, host has disabled screen sharing.
Oops, I will fix that. That's what happens when we don't do workshops for a week or so.
Right.
All right, you should be able to now.
Okay, so I'm going to share my whole screen. I know this is dangerous because you see things that, you know, I tried to minimize stuff you would see. But anyway, hopefully you can see right now I've got the reader for this workshop. And I did not check if that link was posted in the chat yet.
Yeah, I stuck that in there. And I would say if you can hit Control+ a couple times and make the text a little bit bigger, that would probably help folks.
Okay, well, we will do what we can here. Is
but
that
also
helping? No.
But also, folks, you can follow the link in the chat. There you go. That looks better. Okay. So you want to keep that handy just to refer back to as Naomi is going to be switching back and forth between screens.
Okay, so hopefully you guys can see what this is. This might get really difficult when I make this only on one half of my screen, but we'll see what happens. So today we're doing building web maps with Leaflet. And as you can see, Michelle Tobias and Arthur Cole have their names on this as well. This is a revision of this workshop that was put together. And all the content, all the organization, all the great ideas were already here, but we needed a new data set because this was previously based on a pretty cool site about campus cats on campus on the UC Davis campus, but that's not being maintained anymore. So I made some new data and we made some screenshots and stuff like that. So this is standing on the shoulders of giants here. So just credit where it's due. So as an overview, we're gonna, by the end of the 2 hours here, we'll have built an interactive web map to display some spatial data with Leaflet JavaScript library. We'll learn some introductory HTML, what tags are, how we format text. We'll load JavaScript libraries. We'll learn what Leaflet is, and some best practices about what we're going to do with our web maps. Skills, prerequisites. So what we need to do, basically what you need, there's data to download for the website. There's a box link. We'll get to that. Excuse me, but really, if you know anything about spatial data, that's helpful, but we'll walk you through it. If you know HTML, fine, but we'll walk you through that too. And you'll need a web browser and a text editor, which I'm pretty sure everybody's got that. I really like Notepad++. That's what I'm going to be using today. And that's it. So that is it. Software tools introduction. Okay, so a web map. What's a web map? So web map is well, we know what a static map is. It can be a piece of paper that you're holding in your hand. It can or it could be like a PDF or a JPEG file of something that someone has made and then exported, but it's basically an image. And the person using that static map can't interact or change with it, change it in any way. They're really easily displayed in a web browser, but you can't zoom in and out. Well, you can zoom in and magnify it, but you can't like change the extent that you're looking at. So that is a static map, whereas a web map refers to a map actually embedded in the web page that you can click on and ask questions of, pan around and zoom. These can be really powerful ways to share information. So it is something that we do often as GIS people, where we get all our data together, make something really beautiful and share it out. But this, a web map allows for people to zoom in and customize their experience. Zoom in, customize their experience, and get more information than a static map would allow. So not only can you engage your, it adds a level of engagement. Not only can you have the symbology and the everything that you're looking at, but you can also further guide the user by using pop-ups or symbols that can point to specific information that's important. They're also a lot of fun. You know, you can share things about the world or things that you're excited about, and they can be, you know, serious tools, or they can just be kind of fun, interactive things to do. They're easy to share and update and modify. They can be, you know, about toxic waste sites, or it can be about your family vacation. So very flexible. Lots of things that you can do, very expandable. And so there are some examples here of really detailed, in-depth ones, web maps. I am not going to click on all of them now. I might click on this one for you now. So here is, I right click to open this in another tab. Hopefully you can see this now. So here is a web map that shows Curiosity's location on the surface of Mars. Now, I mean, like, if that isn't a cool thing to do with your web, but now this isn't just a picture. I'm using my mouse wheel to scroll. Here's the rover, here's all the dots, and you can see as you move in, you get more information and more detail, and these are all things you can control in a more advanced workshop. But anyway, I'm just using my mouse to click around, and if you click on a dot, you know, you can see it shows you what day. So you can get all this information. You get the background that zooms in, you get the path, you get the individual days. So this is all information. If you just tried to do this on a static map, you could make a very beautiful static map, and you would have to figure out how to show all that detailed information, where as with the web map, you know, you can put this up and anybody can get to it. We just did, and get all that rich detail out. So these can be really flexible, really beautiful tools. So there's a whole link here, a whole bunch of examples here in the reader. I believe the railway map is by our own Michelle, and so is the COVID workplace exposures map. That's really cool, actually. Oops.
The railroad map's not mine. So
that one's not yours? Okay.
Nope, I did other railroad things, but this one's Open Railway Map that's crowdsourced information about railroads, which is super cool.
Okay. And so here's like, thank you, Michelle, for public data. Use scraping COVID data to show where there have been exposures on campus. So they can be real-time updated, really flexible. Sorry, when it opens in the same window, I'm a little thrown off here. Okay, so here's my examples. Here we go. So today what we're going to do, we're going to do something pretty simple. Well, it's going to look like magic, but it's not going to be the Mars rover, but it's going to be pretty cool. So we'll do one step at a time. So the first thing we're going to do in this project, we'll make a web page to put our web map in. Then we're going to put the fancy code in it that will add the leaflet mat, and then we'll put, well, we're not actually, that's funny. We're not going to put it online. This is all going to be local on your own machine. You have the option to put it online later, but that's at the end. Okay, so we are going to introduce today. First of all, I know we're just like a minute in. Any questions? I think I see a chat notification. Everybody good so far?
Yeah, Veronica just noted how cool the rover map is.
Okay. So we got our workflow. So today we're going to use a JavaScript library called Leaflet. So it's open source. It's very popular. It's got a lot of support online. So it's designed to build interactive web maps with a combination of data available online, like for the background, and your own data. There's a lot of tutorials, so we have a link to tutorials here. And there's a community if you have questions and need to have troubleshooting. You can do Leaflet, you can use Leaflet with the Leaflet package in R. I am not an R programmer, I program in Python. So if you have questions about that, we can get that later, but there's a package, and it's also not covered today as shown. Other web map tools. So there are a lot of different ways to make a web map. Leaflet, so we're just focusing on this one JavaScript library. There's a lot of different things you can do. So we kind of have a list depending on your level of skill, your comfort programming. This is not a one size fits all sort of thing. There's many sizes for many sizes. So you can use things like Carto, Mapbox, ArcGIS Online, story maps. There's two different kinds of story maps, and Esri has story maps, Mongo Maps, GIS Cloud, Google Maps, D3, Here Maps, Felt, Open Layers. These are all different ways of taking, for example, your trip to Hawaii and putting it online. I have used the Esri story maps, and actually Emma Forster last quarter gave a really good intro to story maps if you're interested in diving on that. And it requires no programming. It's kind of plug and play sort of thing. Same with Google Maps. And I actually made the data for this workshop using Google My Maps. I'll go into that in just a sec. But that's another way to kind of, you open a Google map, you add some points, you add some information about it, no programming required, you can change the symbols. So if this kind of tickles your fancy, I want to make a web map, but the programming isn't for you, there's lots of other ways to do this. Or if you've already tried those, this is probably a good logical next step to be able to customize your things further. So the data that we're going to use today, like I said, the previous workshop used something that tracked all the little stray cats and their names, and they were cute. But instead, we're going to use a new data set I made about where to get food on campus, because I'm a little hobbit and I like that. So there's a lot of places to get food, but I made a map of the places where you can go get a whole sandwich already made. You didn't have to stand in line. And there's a bunch of those around campus. And so actually I will show you my map that I made. And this required a little editing later, but I was messing around with some different things. The grab and go things I have see, here's the down thing with Google Maps. You've got everything else. You've got all the other things other people put on, but you can see my little symbols here and here. And then I tried out, okay, what about places you can go and stand and put in an order and buy a burger or whatever, or where are the dining commons. So I made a kind of fancy map like that. And then I pulled the data and made a different kind of fancy map with JavaScript. So you should be able to see this map if you click on that link. I did have trouble with permissions, so hopefully that'll work for you. All right, so what I did, oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna open this one more time. So what I did from here, if you are interested in doing something similar, I put all these locations and then there's a button here where you can export the data, and I exported it to, I think pretty sure KM, one of these. And then from there was a little more processing. We'll talk a little about it later, but that's one way to get the points to get started to map your own data. So there's that. Okay, so this is how, so as mentioned here, this is that we started with that map, and then I processed it from a, oh good, I wrote it down, a KML, and then made a GeoJSON file, and then put it in the JavaScript file. So we're going to go through all, we're not going to go through the processing, but we'll go through all those other steps to get some points into your map. So questions from here?
Not seeing any in the chat, but folks, remember, if you want to put questions in the chat, you can. But if people want to just ask them verbally, you could do that too.
Okay, so if everybody's with me so far. So what this requires is, before we go, like this kind of requires some setup on your computer. You can, when you're working with a web page, any web page, you can either put everything on your computer and open it with a browser that looks at the files on your computer, or you can put the files online and open it with a browser and look at it online, either one of those. So for simplicity's sake today, because I am not going to assume that you all have the ability to host a website, but I am going to assume that you have ability to create folders on your local machine. We are going to build all this stuff locally as files and then look at it in a web browser directly on our computer, but no one else in the world can see it except you on your computer. So in order to do what we need to do, everything kind of has to be organized in on our computers the same way, otherwise the links and stuff won't quite work right. So there's a link here to the box drive. It has folders. It should have in it the JavaScript folder that the JavaScript data that we need to make the map, and a bunch of images that we're going to use to put to make it kind of fancy. And so everyone needs to make sure they have that downloaded. And if you run into trouble, I think, raise a hand. But it should be the box drive link, and there's usually a button at the top that just says download all the files. So once you've downloaded, you save the file, unzip the zip file if you need to, and know where that location is. And then I will make sure that you navigate to that folder where you're working, and then create a new folder to hold the files where you're going to unzip all the data that you just downloaded. Okay, so you've got a working folder with the data in it. It should look like, so here's mine. You can see this. So I just put mine right on the C drive, so it'd be easier to find. But I made a folder called My Web Map. And inside My Web Map, there's a folder called Docs. And inside of Docs, when I double click, now I have a couple extra files, but here's the campusfood.js file that you need. And then the folder that has all the images in it. Now if I go back up to Docs, we'll get to this other stuff later. But those are the two in your folder right now. Should just be these two things: campus food and the image folder.
I made a note in the chat too, but there's also, when you download everything, you'll download another file that's called lakemonsters.js. That's just extra data. If you wanted to make a different web map and play with a different data set, we threw that in there for options for you to play with. It's locations of lake monsters around the world according to Wikipedia. So we won't work with that today, but you may have that file when you download everything.
Okay. So does that, like, if, oh, and I forgot to say at the beginning, if you want to code along, we're gonna be just coding in our notebook text editor. And there's gonna be little like breakpoints at the end of each section where if you get behind, you can just paste the code and be caught up. Or you can just watch along, like, and try it again on your own later. You don't have to code along, especially especially if, like me, you only have one monitor and it's a lot to juggle around. So if everyone's got who wants to be coding along has the data downloaded and their docs file and it looks like this, then the next thing you want to do is create a new blank file and name it index.html. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm right clicking, new text document, and just rename it index.html. And it says might be unusable. Yes, I do want to change it. And now it thinks, now, oh, look, see, you can see my default browser is not Chrome. I don't know why. But now Chrome or Edge or whatever, now it knows, now that it has an HTML extension, now it knows it's a web page. And this is, or now it knows to open the file. This is like, you know, when you have a .docx file and you double click on it, the app that opens is Microsoft Word. If you have a .csv, you can open it with Excel and it'll look like an Excel file, or you can open it in a text editor and it'll look like, you'll see all the data in it. Or a PDF, you can open a PDF in Acrobat, or you can open it in a browser. So it's the same, like we just did, make a file that the browsers can recognize as a web page. And when you call it index, it's like, it means it's the main web page, like the first one, like home. So that's it. We've now finished finished our setup. I mean, that's kind of pretty basic. And so if I double click on index.html, the browser will want to open it. But what I'm going to want to do is edit it. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to say edit with, no, you can use whatever text editor, you can use VS Code, you can use whatever, but I have index.html, and don't mind all these other files. These are just when we get to the end, if you're behind on the code or something's not working, so that I have it handy to paste. So this is all you need. Index.html, it's empty. And we're ready to go. Okay. So let's build a web page. Everyone with me? I don't know if notifications pop up. Oh, good. Okay. Thank you. All right. So the first thing is we need to make that index.html into an actual web page. So we're going to go over some basic intro to HTML. So it stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And the thing, it's similar to other markdown languages you might see, but what it is it's that every element, everything in the web page has a tag on it that tells the browser how to read it. So we know things like if you wanted to make a paragraph, you put a tag that says P on it, and then the browser says, oh, this is a paragraph. And if you put and everything that you open, you need to close. If you put, oh, here's another one example, a heading, it knows, oh, instead of a new thing of text, this is going to be a heading, and I'm going to make it this big, and it comes with a bunch of default, there's, you know, default sizes and text styles. All of it can be customized for another day. But the main thing is we put these tags in the web page, and then the browser reads the tags and it interprets them, and it turns the tags and your text into something that you read on the web. So that's the very basics of the concepts. If you want to look through a whole bunch of HTML tags, we got a link for them here. But what we'll do, we're just going to put some basic things so that the right now we just have an empty text file. We need to tell the browser, hey, this is actually a web page. This is a web page. So what we're going to do is copy this code here. I'm going to use Control-C, and I'm going to go in here to Notepad. Notepad++. I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste it. I'm going to save this file. And now our .html website or text file has the information in it that will tell a browser that this is in fact a web page. And the way that we test that out is that we open it, we double click it. Now, remember last time I did right click and did, edit with Notepad, and that's how I got it open to edit the text. But now I can just open it with Chrome. And you can see it's blank, but it's a web page. So I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna move things around. Now can people still read the reader? It's a little squished, but on the left now is the reader. On the right is the thing that we're building. This is our web page, and you can see the location here. The URL is my C drive and that folder that I made, and the docs and the index. So it's looking at this code and it's saying, yes, okay, great, I am a web page. And that's it's kind of neat. That's it. That's all you need for a web page. Let's see. So we opened it in the browser. Now we're going to do a couple of things to it and start building what we need to do. So there's usually two parts in a web page. Actually, there could be more. I don't know. I learned HTML 20 years ago. But there's usually a head at the top that has special instructions just for the browser and that you don't see when you render your web page. And then you have the body that has all the text and pictures and tables and everything else down there. So what we're going to do is go into the head section and give our web page a title, so that instead of saying index.html up here, it'll have a name. And you can do this too. I'm just going to click on here and highlight, select this text here, copy it, and right inside these two HTML tags, this opens the web page, this one closes it. I am going to right click and paste. And now I've got a head. And remember, you have to save it so that when you go here to your web browser and hit refresh, it's going to go look in this file and it's going to say, oh, I'm still a web page. And look, my name is UC Davis Campus Food Map. Pretty cool. Okay. So we've given the web page some instructions and you can see that they worked. All right. So now we can put something in the body so that, when we look at this, it looks like something. So the body section has all, like I said, all your pictures and text and all the cool stuff. So you want to open, I will just show again, your head is open here and closed. And now your body, you can see the body is open and closed. And you can put as many headings and paragraphs and tables or whatever you want all inside that body tag. We're just going to start with a couple basic. I'm just going to copy this text here. It goes below the head. And now I have a body. I'm going to add some spaces just so you can kind of see the sections a little better. It doesn't read white space. This doesn't matter. This is just for visual. I'm going to save it. So now I've got this body. And when I come here to I'm going to move this. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of window shuffling here. When I refresh, I think you can see it behind my Zoom controls, but this should say Campus Food Map and the text that we put in there. So now we have a title and a paragraph. And now we're building a web page. So this is, it's pretty good, I think. So that's where we are here. You could write all kinds of stuff. I could have written for days about how much I like the tuna sandwich at the silo and everything else, but I thought we would just stick with that. So at the end of this section, we're here at the end of the section. your code should look like this. If you want to catch up and just click on this link, this code is available. You just copy the whole thing and paste it into your index.html in the folder with your JavaScript. So that's where it goes. And then your browser, you double click it and your browser's reading it. Okay. Everybody with me? Any questions? Any pause? We ready to go on?
Not seeing anything in the chat right now, but also if you want to check your work, if something's not working right, those links to the sort of catch up example code links in the reader are a really good way to catch up and to see, like, if you've got a typo and something isn't rendering right, you can check and see if yours matches, or like Naomi said, you can also just copy and paste so you get to the same working point that we're at in the workshop, just so you don't get frustrated trying to catch up.
Okay. Okay, so we did that already. All right. Moving on. And so my goal here, everybody, is to get through section 4 and then take a quick bio break for everybody, a little 5-minute break, and then come back and do the fun stuff. Just keep you guys on the edge of your seats for anyway. So again, if you missed it, the code is here, so we're going to move on. We have a map. Let me move this a little bit here. Okay. Side by side. So we have a web page with a head that gives the title of the page and a heading and a body. So now we're going to start getting into setting up our page to hold the leaflet map. So now we have a web page. Now it's got to hold all there's some steps in there that we need to do to put a map in there. So the next thing we'll do is put some more information in the head that that gives some more specific instructions about how to make the map appear, like the styles, and these are called cascading style sheets. And you can make your own for these, like if you're building your own website and you want every paragraph to be italic. In these little inside the tag, you can add all kinds of little detailed customizations, and you can add them one by one to each tag, or at the very top, you can say, okay, web page. Every time you see the P tag, make it italic. Oh, and also I don't like Times New Roman, make it this font. So we've got a whole special set of cascading style sheets that go with the leaflet library, so that so that the web page it works together with the leaflet library and the style sheet, so that everything looks the way it's supposed to look. And this information can go up in the head because it's not the text and stuff. So the reader notes that it's similar to loading packages or libraries for your code. Yeah, that's a really good way to think of it as well. You've got all this basic HTML stuff, and now you're going to go out and say, hey, I want this cool thing, and I want access to all the cool libraries and code and stuff. And so you just put a link to it there. So there are 2 ways to do it. You can download leaflet packages and stuff on locally, or you can link to them remotely. There's really good instructions here on how to either download it or how to do hosting, and all it requires is these two lines of code, and this stuff so that you see here, the tag with the exclamation and the 2 dashes, that's a comment. So this line loads the leaflet file, and this line loads all the JavaScript stuff. So I just highlighted it, Control C. I'm going to come up here. I still want it in between these 2 head. Control V, and I saved it right here. So now I've got leaflet CSS, and Leaflet JavaScript file in the head. So when the browser opens this up, it's got the special information in it that says, okay, here's the title. Okay, here's some styles I'm going to use, and here's the JavaScript package. The browser takes care of that. And comments. So when you save this and reload it, you don't see anything happening because that's just information for the browser. It's no new text or anything. But it should load. So if it broke, then, you know, try deleting what you did and copying it again. If you miss even a little bit of a, you know, if you miss a closing tag or a comma or anything, it won't load. So you should be able to copy, paste, save, reload. You don't see anything, but it's also not broken. So that's where we should be. Okay, so now we've added some special instructions here to the map. To the head for the browser to read. Now we're going to add some space in the map itself, in the body. That's a div is like just a little area we're going to set aside to put the map in. And the reason we're giving it its own area is that we want to give it a name so that we can reference it. So let's see, we're going to add the div. It has an ID called map ID, so we can talk to it. And we can define styles for it. Either inside the tag, like I was saying, you can like say for div, you can, I don't know what the div modifications are, but you can do that. Like probably the size, you know, how wide, how tall and stuff. So you can do it right in there, or you can put it in a style sheet above, or we could do it in the head section, or we could do it in the style sheet. I just repeated myself, so I hope I'm not confusing you guys. So this is what so again, the code, what we're going to do is get this div. We're down here in the body. This is the stuff we just did in the head. Here's the body. We're going to select this highlighted line. We're going to Control C. I'm going to come back over here. Okay, and I'm going to put it Control V. So your div has a tag that's open and it's closed. You see the end of this is the closing tag for the div. Here's the open. We gave it a name. This is important. The name is called map ID, and then it's got some style. We said make it this big and this wide and this tall. So that was all the information. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to reload my map. And again, we don't see anything because we didn't put anything in it yet, but your page should not be broken. So if it's broken, check your code. And now we're going to add a spot. We're moving on. This is also kind of a little bit of a cliffhanger here. We made a spot for the div. Now we're also going to make a space for a script. A script is this is how we're going to actually reference that's how we're going to actually go grab the data and make our map. But we need to make a place for it in our web page so that the browser, when it gets to this script tag, it goes, oh, there's going to be more extra instructions. Okay, I'm ready. So just like all these other tags, this is set up to do everything else. So this is just copy this, highlight it, copy. Paste it right here. Hit save, hit reload, and again, nothing to see yet, but that's where we are. We are ready to put a map in, and I was hoping to take a break on the hour, but let me, I think we can do the next section, unless, let's do the next section, get our map going, and then we'll take a quick break. So just going back one. Oh no, I don't need to. Well, I'm just gonna pause here for a second. Does anyone have any questions? Has everyone? It can be about HTML, it can be about files, browsers, food. Or again, I don't know where we see the thumbs up, thumbs down, but
If you look at the participants list, it shows how many reactions you're getting.
okay, so I've got none that I see. So I'm gonna just assume we're okay to keep going. So, okay. So next, again, here's the example code, and we'll go to add a map. This is the end of section 4. So you should look like this, which we're cruising along. But if you needed to paste the map or paste the code and keep going, you can just come to this link. So we're ready to go. We've got all the structure that we need. Oops, excuse me. All the structure, everything's set up in here to stick a map. We've got a web page that's ready for a map. So let's make a map. So HTML comments were this exclamation mark thing. JavaScript has 2 lines. So from here, there'll be a little bit of both HTML and JavaScript, and sometimes it can get a tiny bit confusing. We'll just take it line by line if we need to. So we've got okay. So first we're going to create an empty map in our map ID div. And into that we'll load Stamen's toner tile service to use as a background layer. Oh, it's a really pretty one. My husband said it looked like the old Mac graphics. I thought, yeah, well, I think it does. So it's a background layer so that our map, when we start putting data and points where to go find some food, you've got, pictures of buildings and stuff. It looks really, you need something in the background. And these are free. There are other, in our resources section, there's links to finding a whole bunch of other different kinds of background. If you go to this, if you Google Stamen's toner tile service, there's a bunch of different ones. There's a watercolor one and some other ones that go pretty much, you just change 1 or 2 words if you wanted to use this workshop at a slightly different background. So, excuse me. So we are working in this script section that we just made, and we're going to add an empty map called, oh, okay, you can't read it because of how, here, let's see if I can do this. Okay. We're going to add an empty map called food map to the page in the map ID div. So we're going to make this variable. It's called food map. Okay, so this is kind of important. We're making this variable, and it's going to, L refers to this leaflet, is a leaflet object that your browser knows how to find because we put that special code up in we put the special code telling it where the JavaScript leaflet library was. And we're going to the object that says make me a map. I want to call it, no, I can't remember what all these, this is where the center of it is, the zoom. I can't remember map ID. I'm going to need to remember that though.
The map ID is remember when we made the div and we called it map ID? So this is telling it to go into that div.
Okay. Yeah. I knew that. Yep.
Yeah. I always say it's amazing what you can forget while you're trying to teach. It just leaves your brain. So I'm here for backup.
Thank you. Yeah, even though it's written right here, I appreciate the map. Okay, so we're making this variable, and what it's telling you, go talk to that div called map ID that we told how big to be, and make it this big, or find in the center of it here, and this is the zoom level. And then we're going to add the base map. Here's the base map variable, and we're going to use this L object again. And this time we're going to ask it to go do tile layer. And here's a bunch of stuff you get from the leaflet stuff, that the Stamen page that tells it where the stuff is. It's a, you know, attribution, a bunch of stuff. You just copy all this. Let's copy all this. I'm gonna put it in between those script tags. Put it in between the script tags. Okay, Control C, Control V, save it. Okay. And now check it out. Save it, refresh. Ta-da! This will never not be cool. I'm sorry, it's just so cool. So we just told it, go get this cool free hosted background and put it in the div that we made in our webpage. Go zoom the center here and zoom level this, you know, centered on basically the quad and zoomed to this scale. The number is 15. I think the bigger numbers are zoomed in farther and smaller numbers are zoomed out bigger. And we could have put the center here and have it zoomed out to all of Davis or all of the United States, which wouldn't have been as useful for our thing. So all of this stuff is customizable, but pretty magical. I don't know. I thought it was pretty magical. Hopefully that worked for everybody.
I just want to add, I thought it was magical when we made the blank web page because that's how geeky I am. So, but this is my second favorite part of this workshop.
Yeah. I think this is always my favorite part where you're like, turn it on and you're like, seriously? Cause look, you guys, it's all ready. I'm using my scroll wheel. There's the library, right? Right? And you can, and it's you can zoom out as far as you want. Here's Davis. You know, I can see my house from here. It's, you could have put this anywhere, but we oops, well, I got lost. Here we go. But here's campus. So anyway, it's already an interactive map. It just doesn't have any of our data on it. But it will in a second because we're going to add a marker, just one marker. So you can add data to this by hand. If you have 1 point and you want to type in coordinates by hand, you can do that. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to add, let's see, does that, oh, every time I do this though. Okay. We are going to add a marker that shows where the quad is and has, so we're making a new variable and it's called marker and it's a new, L is that object from Leaflet. And now we want the marker method. We tell it which coordinates, and then we tell it how opaque, and we could tell it which shape, we could tell it all kinds of stuff. And then this variable marker, we can say, okay, bind tooltip, and we're going to say, we want, when you hover over it, the tooltip is going to say quad. And then we're going to say, add it to food map. What's food map again? Food map is this variable that we made that is our map that talks to our div that makes this. So we're binding this marker to our food map. So I'm going to copy this and we're going to do it because it's awesome. So you just copy the whole thing, Control C, find my thing. We're still in the script section, add a marker. So we're still in this script section and I'm just going to do this underneath here. I'm gonna, okay, and I'm picky like this. I want everything lined up nicely. Just like that. Okay. So we've added the empty map called food map. We've added a background to the food map. And now we're adding a marker to the food map. We save it. We come here and we refresh. And there it is, a marker. And when I move my mouse over it, it says quad. Pretty neat. And this works great if you've got like 1 point and you were like, this is my dorm room or whatever. But we're gonna take a 5-minute break. And then we're gonna come back and look at how, if you have a whole bunch of points, how we're gonna handle that. So before we take a 5-minute break, does anyone have questions?
I don't see any that we should address in the workshop itself. So why don't I go ahead and pause the recording and we'll come back in 5 minutes. What time would that be, Naomi?
I have 3:01 on my, oh, it's 3:02. So let's come back at 3:07.
Okay, great. So I'm going to pause the recording. Someone remind me to start it again later.
Okay, so hope everyone had a good stretch. So just to remind where we are, we have just built a basic interactive map. We made, we've got an HTML document that our browser can look at with some special instructions. Everything's got an HTML tag so the browser can read it. We've got our leaflet in here, our JavaScript file, got a title. We have a map div. We have a space, a square for our section, div section. That's what I'm and its name is map ID, so we can talk to it directly. And then we have a script that adds a variable called food map into this div. We've got the background tile layer that goes in there. And we've got a marker that goes with that is also part of food map in this div. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to move on to section 6 and get some external data. So this is where things get really, well, it gets a little bit more complicated, but we're just stepping through it. One more step. What if you've got 8 points? I mean, even 3 points, you don't want to sit there typing the coordinates, right? Or you've gone out in the field and you've collected some data, or you've sat in QGIS or ArcMap or wherever you like to make your data, and you've put a bunch of points in there, or you did a Google My Map of your favorite restaurants or whatever it is. Now you have like 10 points, 10,000 points. I don't know, but let's just keep it small for now. We've got 8. You don't want to have to look up each of those coordinates and look them up and type them all in and hope you don't mess anything up wrong. So luckily, all of the ways I just said, you can take that data and take those geographic points from your map software and turn them into GeoJSON and read them with Leaflet. So, and then from there, the possibilities just kind of keep going. You can change your markers, you can change your pop-ups, you can put more attributes into your data and then change the colors based on the attributes, or it just can go on from there. It's just very, very customizable. So we're going to do this simple so you can get the steps and understand the language, so that when you have a great idea, you can go work on it and get your own cool map. So we've got an external data file. So let's just take one sec back. I said you could bring all of those things into GeoJSON. So what is GeoJSON? It's GeoJSON is a spatial version of JSON, which because I am teaching the workshop, have forgotten what JSON stands for, but you can look that up. It's very easy to look up. And they're open standards, they're text-based, and they store data as attribute value pairs. So the pairs will look like this. So name is the attribute, and is the name of the attribute, and the value for the name is Bob, and everything is stored in a pair so that you and things are in quotes so that you can It's actually really cool. You can go look for things in your GeoJSON based on the attribute or the value. So you can think of it a little bit like if you could take your, like if you had a shape and you have your points with an attribute table, and one of the columns is called ID, and one of them is called, you know, name, and one of them is called description. It can flatten all that out into one big file with pairs that say, with pairs that are titled ID and name and description, and then each of the values that go with it. So it's all kind of like it's kind of like a giant flat file. And then the way it's set up makes it really easy to step through and get to all the information that you need. So they're text-based, so you can read them, although it can get a little complicated because pairs can have pairs inside of them. But still you can look at it and kind of go, oh, but it's not zeros and ones and wingdings and whatever. You can actually open it up and see it. So for there's a lot of advantages to using this file, because like I said, this is organized in a way that lots of different programs can read. You can read GeoJSON here in JavaScript. You can read GeoJSON in pretty sure you can do it in R and Python and variety of different languages, because it's all text-based, key value pairs, dictionaries. And oh, you can use it for, you can edit it in like GitHub if the files aren't too big. So it's really handy. It takes a little getting used to, but it's really handy. The other nice thing is that you can make GeoJSON. Not only can you read it, but you can make it from most of the major GIS tools and programming languages. So if you have QGIS, you can make a shapefile or a whatever your format of choice is, and then you can just export it as a GeoJSON, and all your data is stored as these attribute value pairs that you can then use here. And that's what I did. I brought the KML from my Google My Map, and there was a bunch of pre-processing, which if we end up having time at the end, I'm happy to answer questions about, but it is outside the scope of this workshop. But I brought it into QGIS, I changed the column names, I got rid of what I didn't need to, and then I exported it out to GeoJSON. And when I was done exporting it to GeoJSON, here, let me open this a little, bigger. Hopefully you guys can see this now. So when you open it, you can just open it in your text editor, or and it looks like this. So the type is one of the attributes, and here's the value. It's a feature collection, and the name of it is campus food, right? It's called campus food. That's the name we gave it. And this is the coordinate reference system, and has a bunch of stuff. And you can see even within the attribute, you can get all these. This curly bracket means it's a dictionary, and then you get things within things. So it can get a little complicated, like when you get into the features. Now you've got a square bracket. This is a list. So we have a list of features. And in there, you've got a type, which is a feature, and the property of the features. Then here's another list. You've got the name of the thing, which is what I called it, on the description, which is kind of a long description. This comes out, this GX Media Links comes out of the Google My Maps. If you put little picture, you can put pictures in your Google My Maps thing. Here, I'll show you. Nope, that's the wrong. I don't think I have that open anymore. Sorry, I'm not gonna dig around, but if you put pictures in your Google My Maps thing, then it'll spit out a link to a very, very long link URL to that hosted image. I added this one in QGIS to make our images talk to the images in this folder. So I added another field that didn't come with it. And so that's the image name. And then we have this other one, this geometry. So this is a little complicated. It's nested. You don't have to totally understand this to be able to do the rest of this workshop. But this is an example of, this is a human readable GeoJSON format. This is what you get when you pull it out. And in fact, if you want, I have the campus food JavaScript. I can just right click it and edit it with Notepad++. And you can see this. It's kind of nice in Notepad. You can expand and collapse things. A lot of code editors will do this for you, but here's the whole thing. This is it. All right. So that is what we're going to give to our this is what we're going to give to our map now to read as points. Hope that didn't sound too much like mumble JavaScript mumble, but we might get into a little of that because I'm doing my best here. Okay, so we've already got this all formatted. And the other thing that I did, because Leaflet can't just read, it got spit out like this. And it looks just like this. But Leaflet can't read that directly. So we turn it into a variable. And I did that by opening up just this thing. Oops, wrong one. Campus food, JavaScript. And I just had to add this. The variable name is campus food. Now this variable name is important because we're going to talk to it a lot. But we basically wrapped all of this information into a variable called campus food. And now we can go talk to the individual attribute things. We can say, okay, tell me the property name and tell me the property description right? So that's all been done for you. So as long as you have this file, this is wrapped up in a variable, and now Leaflet can go, oh, okay, that's a variable. I know what you're talking about. So this is our variable, campus food. All that GeoJSON. Okay. That was a wall of text. Time to do fun stuff. So to read this data, we have to add another script section just above the one that we've been working on that opens this data file. And to do that, so we have our div with our map ID, and we're going to copy this line of code that says the script is, and the source is this JavaScript file, and the tag is closed. So control copy. I'm lost. Okay, control copy. It went above. It goes, wait, did I skip something? No. Okay. It goes right below the div and above the other script. So I'm putting it here. I don't know. I don't know if you can see this. It might be too small. It has finally occurred to me that it might be too small, but I pasted that there and I have saved it. The script could also go up in the head, but we're going to keep it here in the body. And then when I refresh this, nothing should happen. Right? It's just refresh. We gave it some new information, but there's nothing in there yet. And now we can add some data. Ta-da! Okay. So add this code to the bottom of your long script section where we made the quad ID. And this will make markers out of the JavaScript. So I'm just going to highlight all this, copy. I'm going to put it below my marker, still inside that script tag. Okay, I made a variable called food points. Let's make this big again. Okay, the variable is called food points. And we're going back to this object from Leaflet and you calling GeoJSON. Campus food. Remember, we call the variable inside our variable name up here is campus food. Okay, so we're calling that. Campus food. We're saying point to layer. We're turning the points into a layer with a function using the feature and the latitude and longitude. And we're going to make a circle marker with the color that's orange and the radius of 8. And we're going to save it. Save it. Save it. And we are going to refresh our map. And now we have circles, which is also super magical. And now we have an interactive map, like for real. Like you can click, and I'm using my scroll wheel and my mouse. That is the stuff that I made on my Google map, and now it is in my Leaflet map, which there we are. Okay, so anyone need help here? Anyone stuck?
I don't see any questions in the chat. You guys can give us a thumbs up with reactions if you're good to go. And if you're having any trouble you want help with, you can post in the chat. That'd be helpful.
Okay. So this little paragraph here, hopefully I said all of these words, but if you missed it, it talks about what each of the things does. And so now we have our points on our map. And now we're going to go make it fancy. So we've got the example code. If anything went wrong, you can paste the code into your editor and catch up.
So Doug is asking what happens when you click on the GeoJSON points right now. I believe the answer is nothing, but we're about to fix that.
Yeah, nothing yet. They are just here. I'm clicking, but nothing's happening. So now we'll add a pop-up.
Yeah, so just so you know, at this point in the workshop, it's very incremental adding. So we do the very basic. We're going to add the marker to the map. And then once we get that working, we're going to build on that. So we're not going to try to do everything at once. We're going to add, you can think of it as like layers, like Shrek says, ogres have layers. Same thing with Leaflet. We're going to add pieces, make it work, and then make it fancier, and then make that work, and then make it fancier. So sit tight. There will be pop-ups coming, I believe.
And pictures. It's pretty cool. Okay, so now that we have those points, just like you said, it'd be good to know what's there. So we can now add pop-ups using this. So before we just had this, like, okay, we just had one bind pop-up, we did one, but now we have to add to our function for each thing. So it's a little complicated, but that's why we're doing it step by step. And you can just copy, make sure you get this comma, and then copy. And then, I can barely even see this, but I don't know if I know how to make it bigger. Zoom out, zoom in. There we go. That's a little better. So I have to go find where we had food points. Okay, variable food points, return circle marker. Okay, so before we get to the add food map, but after we get to this point to layer, I've got my cursor right here, and I'm going to Control V, and I've got that comma. This is key. And on each feature, you have another function that talks to the feature and the layer, bind pop-up, and it's just going to say this is a pop-up. And so when we save this and refresh, and now when I hover and I click, this is a pop-up. This is a pop-up. you get a pop-up, you get a pop-up. Okay, because it bound the same, we just hard coded this text in for every layer, but it did it. So now we've got pop-ups. So the next step is going to be to make something else for the pop-ups that's point specific. Okay, so we added the point to layer function, and then we made another function called on each feature and bound the pop-up that's called food points and put the text. Okay, so we'll now next, we're going to customize that. And instead of saying this is a pop-up, we're going to use the name properties out of our, right? So we have a name that goes with each feature, and we're going to bind that one to the pop-up. So as we loop through our data, the code will add each location's name instead of just this is a pop-up. So I'm going to take this yellow highlighted text. I'm going to go back to my index thing, and where it says this is a pop-up, I'm going to highlight that, and I am going to paste feature properties name. Now notice this is not in quotes because this is code, not text. So we're calling a function or a method or whatever this is, but we're calling something. We're not just typing in things. So there's no quotes. Let's save this. Reload. Doesn't look any different, but when I click here, now that's the silo market. This is latitude market. I think this is cool. So what's really cool is that now that we have pop-ups, this is all like default and stuff, but you can format the pop-ups like you do any other kind of HTML. So you can do this kind of hybrid HTML, JavaScript, and mix like variables that you've called from your GeoJSON with HTML tags and make it look however you want. And possibilities are endless. So we're going to add some details. And like this says, it kind of functions like a very tiny web page within a web page within a web page. So we can add these things, add these extra tags to make it look cool. So we can modify this pop-up and show that the name is, we want to modify the pop-up to label the name as name. So this was highlighted here, just this thing that says name, and you can see in here, I'm gonna expand this and it's gonna move. Okay. Add the food points. So here we had the food points, we had point to layer, we had our function that makes the thing, we're binding to the pop-up. Now you see here, this is in quotes because this part is text that we're typing in, and in the text that we're typing in includes an HTML tag, a B for bold, and then a closed HTML tag. So stop doing bold here. So this will show up in bold, and then this is part of the function. So the bind pop-up plus means concatenate it with return this piece of information from the JSON. So this is all we have to copy here. Everything to highlight, make sure you get the plus. And let's sorry, a lot of window shuffling, but I think we're doing it okay. So layer, bind pop-up, and right before the feature properties name, I'm going to put this bold tagged name text. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to reload. And now when I click on it, it doesn't just say silo market, it says name silo market. So it should look like this. There's a pop-up. Oh, every time I resize it, it moves. Okay, looks like this. So now it says name silo market. Okay, everybody with me? Okay, then we're going to keep going because we can add even more things. We can add as many things as we feel like adding. We can add, we added the name as this, and then we can add the description out of that GeoJSON. So here's another plus sign. Say we're putting it on the end, and here's again in quotes because this part is text, and it's a BR is a break. That means go put it on a new line. And again, the BRs don't have closing tags. I don't know. It's almost a perfect system. All right. Bold, and then it closed the bold, and then close the quotes, and then we're adding feature, properties, description. So you copy all of this. And you take it and you stick it, feature properties name. And now you've got feature properties description. You save it. You refresh. And now, oh, that one's kind of broken. Let's show you this one. Here we go. Now I've got the name, and then on the next line, I've got the description and the information that's returned from the JSON. So this is a combination of HTML formatting that puts this text here and puts this on the next line, and then a little bit of JavaScript programming that pulls this out of the GeoJSON to populate it for each point. This is pretty cool. And we can keep going. So like the same concept, we've added a description. Now we can make use of those images. And here's where, if you're not super familiar with web and the programming and the files and stuff, it can get a little confusing. But what I did because I was having trouble with permissions on those hosted images, and if you're hosting your own web page, you may have files set up like this also, where you have the main index and then a folder that has the images in it, like this. We have my web map folder with documents that has your JavaScript and it has your web page, and then you have this separate folder with all your images in it. So in that case, instead of putting a whole link to wherever you want, you might just want to reference it with relative paths, which is what we did here. So there's many different ways of doing this. This is the way that we're doing it here. So this is just one of many. Okay, but because this is how we're doing it, we've got index up here, and then we need to reference the things that live in this image folder. So when we go ask for it, when we go add one more thing to our JavaScript, excuse me, we have to, excuse me, we have to tell it, okay, we've got a tag, find pop-up. So we're putting this tag in here. Image is a tag. And we'll tell the image tag, the source is this image folder plus this information from the GeoJSON, which was the feature, property, image name. And then we told it how big to make it. And then we put this break. So this goes before the name on our tag. So the image tag is one, and the source can be, here it's a local file. It could be a URL, could be, here I'll show on this JSON file. JavaScript, sorry. Right, so we have these GX media links. I could have referenced the GX media link instead of, sorry. Okay. This GX media link, you can see this is a hosted online, like this is a URL that lives online, as opposed to those images, which are in a folder that live on my computer. But I was having trouble with the permissions, so I decided not to use these. But if you did that instead, you know, the source would be, instead of the feature properties image name, it would just be feature properties GX media link. And you wouldn't need to go look for this folder. Anyway, but this is how we're doing it here. I hope that wasn't too much of a sidebar. So this is the piece that you need. Images. The source is and you can see that it's in the quotes because it's text. So the source is the IMG folder and the name out of, sorry, the image name. Coho, grab one. I can't find it now because I am teaching the workshop and I can't find it. Anyway, it's in here. Type point coordinate, image name. Right. So we're going to go search through all the attribute value pairs for the attribute name of image name and pull that information. And since we're also formatting a little mini web page, I can't point. We're concatenating it all together. So hopefully that was mostly clear. All right, so we put it on this side of the quotes. We're still in the quotes. Control V. So the image source is this plus the image name, and then plus the width, and then the next line is the name and the feature properties name, and then the next line is the description. And then we save it. And then we reload. And now, see my favorite tuna sandwich. It's actually right over here. It's got the points. So when you click on it, we put the image on top. And then it's called the Silent Market. And here's a description. And you can close it. And I can't see these behind there, so I'm going to zoom in. And you got Coho, grab and go. This is the market at the pantry. If you can't see the top, you can move the whole thing. So I see a lot of notifications in the chat. Are people just super excited, or is there some questions?
There was some questions about like why the teardrop quad marker stayed on top, and we believe the answer to that is because of the rules for how Leaflet renders that particular type of marker versus the circle marker. So I believe the 3D quad marker is just going to stay on top no matter what. But if that is annoying you, you could certainly remove that from your code or comment it out.
Yep.
The reason we did that early on was to give you like a super quick win. Like, here's how you make one marker. So you could comment that out if you no longer like it. You could take that out. We just wanted to show you that there are options for hard coding markers in there if you wanted, but you don't have to keep it. It is on top of some stuff. It is a little annoying.
It's a little annoying. I debated taking it out and redoing all of the things again.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be brave and comment this out. I don't know if you can block comment. Let's find out. Oh no, but this is Notepad, so probably not. Probably if I was in VS Code, I could.
I think there is a multi-line JavaScript comment code, but I always have to look it up because I never remember what comment code I'm using myself. Okay. Oh, so Alex put it in the chat because Alex remembers these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it makes people feel good to know that like I do this stuff all the time, but I have to Google the basics because I just forget. It does not stay in my memory. So Google's cool. Oh, yeah. You can totally do that.
Much more important things in our memories. And like I know in VS Code, like when you're working in Jupyter notebooks, you can select a whole block and just hit Control/ and it comments everything in there. But this is Notepad, not, I think Notepad's really cool. I like how you can, this is pretty sophisticated for a text editor. Like you've got the variables you can open and close, and it's pretty cool. But anyway, so I just hand commented all this stuff out. That was the marker for the quad with a cool tooltip. And as you can see, it's gone. And I could do that because this one isn't part of this variable food points, and with this function, and this is a standalone thing. So I could just take out this little piece and the rest of it didn't break. So who's excited that they have a web map? the next section is about how to put it online. And as you can see, we didn't go into this in very much depth. You can make a GitHub page for free, and then you would want to put your index as one page and set this up with relative paths the same way we did it here. I thought about putting this on my portfolio page on Wix, but then I thought, well, if there's this, I find it a little complicated how to upload stuff, and you've got site files and site photos and all kinds of stuff. And I thought that's a whole other thing that people don't need to hear about right now. So I think what I will say is, we'll just leave web hosting and the details of it for another workshop. Hopefully this has given you enough vocabulary and practice and like example code to work with that you feel like you've got some words you can Google, some ideas you can work with, and hopefully you got kind of inspired about what you can do with a web map. Like, just, we've less than an hour and a half and we've got, text and data and pictures and something you can click on, which I think is pretty neat. And so that kind of wraps up everything that's in our reader and in our workshop. So I think I'd be willing to answer some questions about data processing if we had those. I could show some of that. Or if there's any other questions, I'll do my best. If any of our JavaScript programmers actually hung until the end, they probably don't want to ask me. You could hear the mumble parts, but like I'm not a JavaScript programmer, so I can kind of answer some questions about how this is all connected and works together. So I'm happy to do that. If anyone got lost in the variables or the HTML tags or anything like that, we can go through it slower, or if there's any other questions. So the end.
Yeah, we can certainly crowdsource questions. Like, we don't have to put Naomi on the spot to answer all of them. I'm sure that if there's things that other people can chime in with, that's cool too. So any questions, you can put them in the chat for the Zoom, or if you feel more comfortable unmuting and explaining your question verbally, that's fine as well. Okay, so we have a question in the chat. Somebody's asking, do you have any min Zoom values that you recommend? So is the question about like minimum zooming?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's like min zoom and max zoom value. It's my typo. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have like the zoom levels memorized, but and I think they probably vary from application to application, because I know that on ArcGIS Online, I don't even think it goes down to 15. But as you can see, 15 is like neighborhood level. Like, you can see individual buildings. So it's going to depend on what you're using your map for. This worked really well because we wanted to be able to, the function of this map was to guide people to specific buildings and locations. The audience would be someone who is on campus running between classes. So the whole area we wanted to show was like a walkable circle radius. But if I wanted to show you, all the in and outs in California, I'd want to start my zoom level, bigger, maybe the whole state. I don't know offhand what these numbers are, but if you wanted to experiment, that's in this, the map ID, pardon me. This is where the center of the map is, and here's the level of zoom. Actually, if every time I refresh this, I'm gonna go live. So I'm just gonna type in 10 here and save it and refresh. And you can see, so 10 gets us kind of this area. Let's try 4. So this would be if you wanted to show things, a regional chain, maybe your Dos Coyotes, right? 4 is this whole Western United States, maybe, so maybe this if you're showing In-N-Out burgers or something else. So it's going to depend on what what you need. You know, you can see that our little walkable map just shows up as one little orange blob if you start here. But if your map is focused on something that's, you know, countywide or statewide or regional, then that's where you'd want to set this zoom level difference depending on what you're trying to get to. Does that answer your question? Okay, good.
Yeah. So I'll just chime in with a couple things. One is, you might have noticed as Naomi zooming in and out, the tile service that we're loading from Stamen is changing. It's not showing all of the detail as we zoom out. Things are dropping out and it's getting more simple. So that's one nice thing about this kind of tile service. It's designed to function well at different levels. So when you pick a zoom level for your web maps, you want to consider you know, the spread of your data, like Naomi was talking about. Like, is it, you know, just your city like Davis? Are we showing the entire state? Are we showing a global phenomenon? But also your tile service might not be designed to work at all zoom levels too. So if you're putting background data from a tile service, you want to find out, you know, what is the recommended zoom levels for that as well. And then either, you know, zoom in accordingly, or maybe pick a different tile service if it's, you know, they don't, like maybe you need a global level and they don't have it, or you need to zoom in really far and they don't have that. So those are just a couple things to consider when you're picking zoom levels. You can also, there are ways also to limit what your user can do. So you could block your user from zooming in too far if you don't want them to be able to like find their own house for some reason, or, you know, stuff like that. Are there any other questions?
So that we.
Okay, well, it seems like nobody has questions for at least to go on the recording. So what I want to do is say thank you very much to Naomi for walking us through this today. I just love doing web maps. It always feels like magic to me when I make a web page and I even put a title on it. But then when I get the web map into the frame too, it's super exciting. So thank you everyone for joining us. Davis folks, stay safe, and we'll be back in a couple weeks with another workshop. Check out our schedule to find out what's coming up and when, but I hope to see you all at the next couple workshops this quarter. So again, thanks, Naomi.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming today. It's great to have everyone here.